Installing Arch Linux can be done in two ways. So either you can install it with the Arch install script or you can do it manually. So for this one, we are going to perform the installation with Arch install script. To invoke the Arch install script, first you need a network connection before you start to do something. So you need, if you are on physical LAN, you don't need to do anything. If you are on something like Wi-Fi, you can use IWCDL command. So when you open up IWCDL, you can do station list. So it will give you the name of your network device under this name, so you can use that, and you have to use station. For example, if your device's name was like WLAN0, then connect followed by your network name, like your Wi-Fi name, something like, if it's something like TP-Link or something, you can use that, and it will ask you for the passphrase. So after having a connection, you can exit out of this. And now that's done. So you can check whether you have a network by using ping-c5 google.com, for example. So we are getting a response, so that's fine. So now we are going to install the Arch Linux. So if you do Arch install, it's going to open up the Arch install script. So the first page you get is where you select your keyboard layout. So for me, I'm having a US keyboard, so I'm going to use 26. You can select accordingly. Then the next page, it will ask you from where you want to use your download mirrors. I'm going to use worldwide, but you can pick something that is relatively close to you, or something that is in your country. So I'm going to type 52 for me. You can pick whichever you want. Then it's going to ask you which drive you want to use for installing. So for me, it's the second one, /dev/vda. So we are going to pick that. Now it's going to ask us what type of partition scheme we want to use. So we can choose from Btrfs, ext4, xfs, or f2fs. So for this one, I'm not going to use Btrfs or something. I'm just going to use ext4. So I can hit 1 and hit enter. Disk encryption, no, this is a virtual machine. Do you like to use grub as your bootloader? No, I'm not going to use grub. I'm going to use system dboot. Decide host name. You can set your host name. Then you have to specify your root password. Then if you want to create additional user, it will ask for you that, it will ask you for that. So it's a good idea to use a user with less privileges comparing to the root user from a security standpoint. So you can type the username over here and hit enter. So it will ask you for the passphrase for that user. Now that's done. It's asking you whether the user needs super user privileges, so I'm going to hit Y. Now if it's asking whether you want to create additional users, just hit enter if you don't want to do something. Now you can select the installation profile in this page. So the first one is for generic desktop, the next one is minimal, the third one is server, and the third one is with Xorg. So you can pick accordingly to your wish. I'm gonna do something with Xorg because I can build from the X Windows systems all the packages. For me, the entire X Windows system will be available. So if you want to do something like a minimal install, you can hit 1, or if you want, I can show you minimal install. Okay, for this one I'll show you minimal install. Hit 1. It's going to ask you which kernel do you want. So you can pick from normal Linux kernel, the hardened one, the long time support, and the Linux Sun kernel. So the hardened one will be like having some custom patches for security. The LTS one is for long-term support. The Zen version will be like performance kernel, so you can pick accordingly. So I'm not going to choose anything, I'm going to leave it with the default. So this is the part where it's asking you whether you want to install some extra packages. So I'm going to type vim. Then if you are on Wi-Fi, you can use IWD like for accessing your Wi-Fi, or you can use network manager. So for me, I don't need any of those packages because this is a virtual machine and I don't have Wi-Fi inside this virtual machine. So if you are on Wi-Fi, just install IWD. Then the next package, instead of vim, I will use neovim. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave that. Select network. So here it will ask you which network you want to configure, how you want to configure your network. So you can use network manager, or you can set up with systemd network D and systemd resolve D. So if you want to use systemd resolve D, you have to select your device name, or else you can use the network manager. So for this one, I'm just going to use the systemd network D1 ENP1 S0. Then here you can configure your network like DHCP or static IP. For me it's DHCP. If you're having static IP, you can configure that. Now here I specify my time zone, Asia followed by Kolkata. So for the first character in both Asia and Kolkata, or whichever may be for yours, are in uppercase, you have to be like specific about that, or else you are going to get an error while it's start to perform the installation. Do you like automatic NTP, like network time protocol synchronization? I'm going to hit Y. So this will give you like the script configuration for you to verify if you want. I'm going to hit enter. Now it will start installing by formatting the drive. It will make the file system and it will install the packages. So this is going to take some time, so I will cut the video from this portion and I will be back after this is completed. So right now it will ask you whether you wanna root into your new created installation. So if you want to add more packages to your installation, you can do it from here, or you can do that from your like installation after you reboot. So we can hit no safely. Now the install is complete, so we can hit reboot. So this is the first boot after our fresh install. So we have installed an Arch Linux minimal install. From here we can build our installation according to our preference. So I'm going to log in. From here we can like perform additional steps on our installation, like we can install a display server like Xorg, or if you want to install something like Wayland, you can do that. Then you can install your display drivers. So if you are on having an machine with Intel dedicated graphic card, you can do sudo pacman -S xf 86-video -Intel. So if you are having something like AMD, you can pick AMD GPU, or you can use ATI, or you can, like if you are on a virtual machine, you can use FBDev. I think, I'm not sure about the package name. Yeah, so you can do that. Then the next thing is we can install our display server. So sudo pacman followed by capital S, and we are going to install Xorg server. Then Xorg -xinit. then xorg dash exit root. So I'm performing this for DWM. So if you are using something else, like if you want to use like GNOME or KDE, you can do something like just xorg. So you can do that. It's going to install the full xorg group. So I'm going to install like xorg dash exit root, xorg dash server, and xorg dash xinit. So that's for the display server. So we can install that. So I'm going to cut the download part and I will be back after the installation is completed. So the installation of the display server has been completed. So this is the part where you install your desktop environment. So you can pick from GNOME, KDE, XFCE, whichever you want. GNOME, you can install sudo pacman dash gnome and gnome dash extra. So if you GNOME, I'm sorry again, GNOME. So if you are like, if you want to install KDE, you can install like Plasma, and if you want to install XFCE, you can install XFCE 4 and XFCE 4 dash goodies, I think, or maybe it's XFCE goodies, I'm not sure, whichever that one is. So for me, I'm just going to install Git because I need Git to install DWM. Now if you want to install DWM, you have to clone git clone followed by https://git.suckless.org followed by DWM. Oh, I'm sorry, git clone. So now the DWM have been cloned, so we are going to clone like ST for example, or you can use some other terminal if you want. So by default, DWM expects you to have ST for the simple terminal, so use the up arrow key to bring back the last command and just type ST over here. So it's going to download, like it's going to clone the simple terminal. So the next thing is we need to have an application launcher. For that, I'm going to use Dmenu. So right now we have completed like cloning DWM, Dmenu and ST. Now we can cd into DWM and we can do sudo make install. So we are getting an error. So this is telling us we don't have one dependency installed for DWM. So from here we can see it's XFT, so probably it's the XFT library, so we can install that using sudo pacman -s lib xft, I think, yeah, sudo make install again. So we need one more package, so lib xinera, so we need that. So sudo pacman -s. So now that's done. Hopefully we will not get any errors this time. Yeah, it's done. So basically you do customization in DWM using, you can use your text editor and you can open up config.h and this is the space where you set, like here you can specify your font, you can specify your font size. This is the part where you specify your mod key. So your default mod key is mod 1 or alt key. I'm going to replace that with mod 4, so it will use the Windows key. Then here I can specify like key binding, so I'm going to delete this shift mask, so mod and enter key will bring up our terminal, that is ST, if it's installed. So if you don't have ST installed, in this part you have to replace ST with your preferred terminal. So, and I would like to change the clause, like the way window is closed, to mod and X. Oh, that's done. WQ bang to save and exit. Control L to clear the screen. Now we are going to like sudo make clean install again. So we have DWM. Now we go, like we cd back to our home folder and we go inside ST, and you can do sudo make install. After that, similarly you will have your config.h file over here. So if you want, you can specify your font size over here. So I'm going to change the font size to 18, so it will be easier for me to read. Sudo make install again, and it's going to install ST again. So if you do a sudo make install, it's going to compile, recompile and install ST again. Now we are going to cd back and cd into Dmenu, and we are going to sudo make clean install. So Dmenu is also installed. Now let's install Firefox. Sudo pacman -s Firefox, and pcman-fm for my file manager. So that is my preferred file manager. If you want Nautilus or something, you can choose that. Then I'm going to install Pipewire, and Pipewire -alsa for my audio. And if you're having, like if you're doing this on a laptop, you can install Blues for your Bluetooth. So for this case, I think that's pretty much it. If we want something else, we can install later on. So that's done. So we are going to copy our XNetRC. I'm not going to use a display manager like LightDM or SDDM. So if you are using GNOME or KDE, you have to install something like sudo pacman -s LightDM followed by lightdm-gtk-greeter. Or if you are using something like GNOME, you can install GDM, or if you are using KDE, you can use SDDM, for example. So I'm not going to use a display server like display manager. I'm just going to use the XNet. So I'm going to copy /etc x11 xorg, like not xorg, XNet and XNetRC to my home folder .xnetrc. XNetRC rm.xh. Okay, now I can use neovim to go inside .xnetrc, and I can delete these lines after the fi DWM. From DWM onwards, I'm going to delete everything, and here I'm going to specify nitrogen dash dash restore, and ampersand for sending it to background, pycom fade, ampersand, so sending our compositor to the background. Then I can use something like exec DWM. I'm going to save and quit. Oh, the next thing is I can install -s nitrogen for a wallpaper, and I can install pycom for the compositor. So after that is done, we can do startx to go inside our DWM. So we have our DWM setup. So if you want, you can install further packages like sudo pacman increase the font size, so control shift and page up to increase the font size on ST, sudo pacman -s. I'm going to install few more packages, like I need something like firewall-d, then I can install auto-tune PowerTop for laptop, and it's going to download and install these packages. So we are going to enable firewall-d, and we are going to set PowerTop to auto-tune mode. systemctl enable firewall-d. So this will enable firewall-d in our next boot. Then that's the command we need to issue. So it will like perform something, and it will make a profile for you to have like good battery to performance ratio. So that is how you configure auto-tune. That's pretty much it for this video. So I hope you all have a wonderful day.